Welcome to Go to Market, a podcast for RevOps sales and marketing leaders to dive deep into industry insights and best practices. Go to Market is sponsored by Fullcast and Silicon Slopes. It is my absolute pleasure to introduce to you Dr. Jeremy Weisz, the founder and CEO of Rise 25. How are you, Jeremy?
Amy, thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you so much for coming on this show. I appreciate it. I have so many questions that I want to ask you. First of all, what is your doctorate in?
So I studied biochemistry at Wisconsin, and I went on to chiropractic school,
Oh, very
actually.
cool.
So,
Very
yeah.
cool. Okay, and so then tell me a little bit about your background and how you got started doing this.
Yeah, as you know, it's a long, windy road, but growing up, my dad had neck pain, and
Mhm.
he went to everyone told him, there's nothing that can help you. He went to medical professionals. Finally, he went to see a chiropractor. After like a couple months, he was like almost 100% better. So I saw him go through that, and I'm like, that seems like something I'd like to do. I was really interested in health. So I ended up working for the chiropractor that he saw in high school and decided, people came in with a frown, left with a smile. I was going to go on and do that. And so,
Uh-huh.
when I graduated and I went out to start my own practice, they don't teach you anything about business in chiropractic school. So I was going to these business and marketing conferences. We're talking somewhere around 2006, 2007. And I stumbled across, it was like these internet, the internet marketing conferences and things like that,
Yeah.
which was novel and more novel at the time. And, I stumbled across this thing. It wasn't called podcasting at the time. It was, some early on people, early adopters, but doing interviews and publishing them online. And
Hmm.
I really took to it. It was everything I loved, which is professional development, talking to amazing entrepreneurs and founders. It's content marketing, it's relationships all wrapped into a 30-minute conversation. And so I started doing that around 2007. And what happened was people started coming to me, Amy, and asking me to help them. I had a full-time chiropractic practice, massage therapist, office manager, and I was like, I don't like saying no. So I'm like, sure, I'll help you. And what ended up happening is that turned into a separate business on accident. Eventually, I sold the chiropractic business and really, that's what we do at Rise 25. It's not necessarily only launching, running podcasts. It's really for me about building relationships and how do you build amazing relationships. And that could lead to clients, it could lead to referral partners, strategic partners. And, I've had some best friends that have come from the podcast. I've gone to people's weddings. I've gone on family vacations with people that I've had on the podcast. So it really, and then I'm sure like if you're in Chicago, we'll hang out, we'll do
Yes.
dinner, and you form these amazing relationships. And so that's kind of the trajectory. And I didn't set out to say, hey, I'm going to help people with their podcasts
Yeah.
someday. It just happened.
Just kind of natural. Well, you responded to a market need, right? And it worked out well, and it was a skill set of yours, and that's really cool. So, I one of the things that I will say about the way that you do this podcast better different than anyone else that I've seen is after I came on your podcast, which I really appreciated, by the way, you sent me a note and it was your, like, you took notes all the way through the podcast and you sent me an email and then you said, here are a couple of relationships I think you might be interested in. I could make introductions. I've never had anyone do that before. And so I think that it's really going the extra mile like that. It has really impressed a lot of people, I'm sure, which is one of the reasons that you've developed such great relationships. And I love that you see the podcast not as an end in itself, but as the relationship as the goal. And I think a lot of us kind of forget that sometimes.
Well, you mentioned on the front end, and I love the name of your podcast, Go to Market, and who, sales and marketing. And the
Hmm.
way I think about it, because we have a pipeline call 3 days a week. We've used Pipedrive, we now use Active Campaign. And we get on, we have like a separate one for our best partners, for
Hmm.
potential clients. And really it's not we're trying to move people through a pipeline. Really, I think of we kind of call it, Amy, our columns of giving. So each
Mhm.
column is like, how do we give to this person? We're not trying to, hey, to sell them or anything like that. It's like, okay, you know, and that's why I gravitated towards podcasting. I found no better way to give to my network of people because, when you come on, it will be a full post, it'll be video, audio, but then we're going to create a snippet out of it and post it on social, and then another 6 months, another, I'm
Yeah.
giving away, basically the surprise for you, but like in another 6 months, we'll do another snippet about you and post on
That's really
social,
cool.
and it's the columns of giving, and so those columns of giving are like, hey, have I had Amy on the podcast to give to her? Hey, have I introduced Amy to anyone that would be helpful for her? Have I sent Amy anything interesting in the mail? So like we send our clients and our partners gifts, and those gifts are usually food related items. And, you know, have we sent them anything in the mail? Right. And so when we did that, people were like, hey, can you do that for me? And that turned into a separate kind of thing that we do for people. We didn't mean to set out like, hey, we're going to do gifting for people. It just was something we did, and people asked us, and we're like, that's kind of a pain. Maybe we'll take on one or two people. And then as we systematized it, we could take on more. And then, the other things are, did we post about something about Amy on social media? Right. And so, like, every kind of step is, can I introduce Amy to be on another podcast that we know? Right. And so, what are ways we could just give to the person? And listen, people know what we do. So, if they know someone who has a need or they feel like they have a need, they'll contact us. So, it's just, that's just how we operate.
Well, I think it's really amazing. So, as we kind of, go into our next phase of going to market as an industry, there's been so much change with AI. There's been so much talk about people going to for like people's machines to talk to each other, basically. What do you think is going to happen to relationships?
Yeah, I mean, you and I have similar beliefs on this with relationships and content. Which is relationships are going to become even more important, authentic, actual conversation relationships, because
Yeah.
even people are generating like comments on social with their AI bots. Is like, is this really what this person said, or is this someone sent me a text message the other day, and we were communicating back and forth, and then they sent me a voice text. Okay,
Mm.
and the voice text, I was like, I called them like, that was not you. I know that wasn't you. That was like your AI clone voice. And I don't know if he was testing me, but it was, you know, basically he cloned his voice and then sent me a
Mhm.
message with
Yeah.
his clone voice. Now he typed it out, but it was not him, right? And
And
so
you could tell, like, there was
I could
something
tell.
there was your BS detector went
Yeah.
off.
And I said, maybe someone who doesn't know you well would know that, it was like
Mhm.
90%, it was like 85, 90%, but I'm like, this is not him.
Yeah.
So I think the relationships, in-person relationships and like actual authentic relationships will be even more important. Now, listen, I love AI, and I love product. I geek out on productivity. When I first started my podcast, Amy, I thought I was going to have the foremost podcast on productivity because I just geek out on that stuff. But then
Yeah.
the same stuff kept coming up over and over. I was like, okay, I gotta branch out. But
Yeah.
I love the tools. It makes me more productive, so I can actually form deeper relationships with people. I even
Mhm.
had there's a cool AI company, Delphi. Delphi, do you know Delphi? Oh,
I
you
have
do?
my own avatar on Delphi. Yeah,
Okay,
I do.
exactly. So Dara, the founder, I had on my podcast. But what I decided to do is I interviewed his AI clone,
Oh, that's so
and so
interesting.
there's an interview with Dara, the founder. But I like, hey, I'm gonna interview your AI clone, but then come on for like 10 minutes. And so I interview him, and then the rest of it is me just talking to his AI clone,
How
right?
good is it?
It's listen, it's at that point they had a video clone. I don't know if they still have that option on their site because it looks like it's audio only. But I mean, the answers are, I asked some of the same questions with him just to see how he would answer, and again, it's pretty spot on, right?
Yeah.
And we'll have to, if you want to have him on the show, I'll have to reach out to get him on
Oh
your
my gosh, yeah, I'm
show.
so interested
Yeah,
because like I'm a big fan of all these things, right? Like you. I am very pro technology. To me, it's all just about how you use it, right? Like trying to pretend that it's you. This is just my personal opinion, and there will be many people who don't agree with me, but trying to pretend that it's you when it's not you, I think kind of like erodes the trust in that relationship. And I think that trust is going to be the new currency because knowledge no longer will be. But I want to get your feedback on that.
Yeah, I mean,
What's your
I
thought?
consider AI similar. I don't know if this is going to be a good analogy, Amy, but like it's kind of like when I got married and met my wife. Okay, she polished me up. Okay, like okay, we need to get you a new wardrobe. Like what you're wearing is terrible. We need to get you a haircut. We need to polish you up, and you know, and that's how I kind of feel. So like I love, I'm from productivity perspective, I use, I get a lot of emails. I'm sure you do too. So I use
Mhm.
Whisperflow and Gemini inside of G
Absolutely.
Suite. And so like
Mhm.
I don't want to type anymore. I'm just like push the
Mhm.
button, talking to Whisperflow, and it polishes up a little bit. What it's still me, but it
Yeah.
definitely polishes up a little bit
Yeah.
of what it is. Because then Gemini's like, okay, creating, boom, and
Yeah.
it's faster, it's easier, and it polishes it up, right?
But with Whisperflow and with
Mm,
Gemini, your brain is still connected to the output of that.
totally.
Right. Like, and
Yeah.
that's the difference. Like, I would say that is completely you. You're just
Yeah.
using
Oh,
a
it is
tool.
totally.
You're using a tool and you're getting it out there and you're just being more productive with your own time, right? And I mean, to me, like that's a different authenticity conversation, right? I also think it's fine for like I also really love the Delphi avatar. I've got one myself. I think that in the right
What do you
context,
use it for?
well, I haven't I just barely built it.
Played around.
So
Okay.
I haven't done it yet, but what I'm planning on doing is setting it up and probably have it on a web page, but have it say, "Hi, I'm Amy the clone." And so they know that they're talking to
Oh,
a
100%.
clone,
Yeah.
right? And so the where it gets kind of scary is like I was experimenting with the founder and CEO of Gen AIPI just this on Monday, and he's a professional pianist and I'm a violinist, and so we typed into Sonos, do a duet, a violin and piano duet based on the style of John Cheney and Amy Osmond. And it did. It like did it. It was crazy. But you could still tell it was like AI, right? And so then we went in and said, okay, now do natural bow movements to make it sound more authentic, like an actual human is doing this, right? You literally could not tell the difference. It
Wow.
was
What do
unbelievable.
you use for it?
It was called Sonos.
Okay, because like there was one I used called Suno. I don't know if it's still around. I
Oh,
don't know
it
if
is
you've
Suno. I
oh,
just was
Suno.
saying it
Okay.
wrong. You're right. It was
Okay.
Suno. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I mean, it's like yeah, so Suno, I love it. And in a use case, I thought it was an interesting use case of it. Like I had a guest on my podcast and he was saying we were just talking about music or whatever. So afterwards, I said, "Hey, I basically copied his whole web page, uploaded it, and say make a rap country song for about his company." And so I
Yeah.
posted it on LinkedIn. Hey, and it was more for him. Like if
It's
anyone,
so fun,
yeah. And
right?
so it
Mhm.
was just like a give. Like okay. It's a whole rap country song. It's like a magic trick, right? If you don't
It
know, and
is.
I did mention, hey, I use Suno. I didn't like
Yeah,
hire an artist and do this, but
right.
it's really cool.
Well,
Yeah.
I think it's super cool, and I think all the tools, like I am super pro AI. I don't, I'm not dissing on anybody's tools. For me though, like this is where I would see a difference, is if John and I released an album and that was the music that we released, but we said it was ours.
Right, right, right.
That's where I would say, okay, no, there's my personal
Being
lane.
more transparent on, okay,
Mhm.
we use this to,
Yeah.
this wasn't us actually playing it. I'd look at it as a way too to deepen relationships. Like even with Delphi, like I can
Hmm.
go on, I can ask you a bunch of questions to you, and that's kind of what I used for, was experimenting with the interview. It's like by the time I talk to him, we could go deeper because he didn't have to be there, right?
Mhm.
And I could just ask my questions. And by the time I talk to him, we can go deeper. And that's kind of what
Totally.
like to use it for, right? And especially people who
I
are
think that's
busy.
great. I totally agree, and I think that those things are going to become just absolute commonplace. Like there's another thing, Copy AI is a tool that we have at Fullcast, and it's fantastic for generating SEO blogs. It's amazing, right? I've used ghostwriters since day one, right? Like all of these things are tools to help us create. And so there are going to be some gray lines. But another thing that another friend of mine, Joe Grover, who runs Amplio with a couple of other people, he uses the Copy AI tool, and then he puts in 11 Labs to interview a thought leader. Now that's fascinating too, because you've got two AI tools talking to each other, but there's still a human connected at the end. The human's
Right.
giving the thought leadership. 11 Labs is interviewing you, and then Copy is writing all of this stuff. And so I think that that's super fascinating also. There's just so many new applications for how to make us more productive.
Totally. And I'm all for that and just being able to go
Mhm.
deeper with everything.
Yeah, me too. Me too. So anyway, it'll be a very interesting scene there. What do you see as the future? Like, what do you hope from a productivity perspective, since you are a productivity guru? What do
I
you
wouldn't say
hope?
guru, but like I'm always just trying to optimize things.
Uh-huh.
And the way I see it is like what's the highest and best use of our time and what do we want to be doing, right?
Mhm,
I think even during COVID, Amy, I never really used like Instacart, right? But during
mhm.
COVID, we're like, okay, maybe we shouldn't like go. Let's just like order everything. I'm like, why haven't I been doing this all along? It's like a $7 service fee that I have to spend like an hour like up and down each aisle trying to, and then I buy more than I want anyway, more than I need. And so I look at it as a way to, same thing. I could spend time on the things that are most important and
Yeah.
the things that I like doing, right? Like, not that I like I can interact with more people in email because I whisper flow in Gemini, right?
Oh,
And so I can get through that. And I like interacting with people. And so that's the way I view it. And even for people's jobs, right? Like
mhm.
we encourage the people at the company to use AI because it makes things better, faster, and then they could spend their time on the highest and best use of their time and what they like doing.
I love that. What do you do what do you do though when somebody doesn't enjoy relationships or enjoy socializing, or if they're an introvert and it's hard for them? Like, is that gonna be a problem in the future?
That's a good question. I guess it depends what they want to do, right? Like we had someone they ran an SEO company, Amy, and they were talking to us about doing a podcast. And he gets on because it's very relationship oriented. You got to like people. You're talking to people.
Yeah.
He's like, should I do one if or should I host a show or whatever if I he kind of in a roundabout way say I'm introverted and I go no you should not you shouldn't do it you shouldn't do it but someone in your company should who likes
Yeah.
doing it like you should not do it so
Yeah, because it'll
you
come
know
out if you don't like talking to people, that's gonna come right out on a podcast, right?
yeah yeah but my point is like I think people just gravitate towards whatever they like doing which would be behind the scenes right and with a lot of AI I mean we let's take like I'll just stereotypical coder wants to code, doesn't want to talk to people. You know,
Yeah.
they can use Cursor or any of these other like Claude or whatever other tools they're going to use for coding and makes their job faster, easier, better. Maybe they could focus on different features that they want to just because it makes it easier, right? So,
That's my opinion
yeah,
too. I think that the mandate in our marketplace, in our global marketplace now, is to learn AI. And if you're an introvert, it's going to help you be more productive doing the things that
yeah.
you like to do. And then if you're an extrovert, maybe you can maybe you can get those things done in technology that you have to, and then you can go out and spend more time on building those like face-to-face relationships.
Let's take copy AI for example. I
Uh,
remember I geek out on direct response marketing, copywriting. Okay, you've had some really good guests on your show
Mhm.
about direct response and things like that. That I was looking at the guy of Sendoso actually was talking
Yeah, he
about it,
was great. Chris was
and
awesome.
but like I didn't realize how introverted so many of these people were, and I loved it because it was just exciting to talk to them, but they can use now copy AI and other things just to hone in on maybe just to instead of like looking at a blank slate, they can just, okay, here's some ideas, generate a few, and I'll kind of go off on whatever
Yeah.
I think is best. So
Yeah, I love that. I think that's really important. Okay, here's my last question about this because I know that I'm belaboring the point, but your perspective is so interesting to me. I love hearing what you have to say about it. When when we got Copy I totally revamped my marketing. I basically have now one writer who's doing 9 blogs a day, whereas we used to do 1 a day. And we're doing it because she's still a human, but we're doing so much of the outlining and the briefing and the writing that she can do it. So, my question is, from a productivity standpoint, do you think that it's really going to make us more productive, or is the requirement for output just going to be that much bigger?
yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of founders saying AI is not saving me time. Now I'm up all night playing with AI.
I
You
know.
know,
And now, in order to compete with SEO, I have to do 10 blogs a day
you
instead
do
of one blog a day.
32,000
Whereas,
blog posts
yeah,
as opposed to 100.
yeah. And so that is going to be an interesting that's going to be an interesting thing to
I
see
do
what
agree.
happens.
Yeah, totally. It's like now we could do more faster, so we're doing more.
Yeah. And
Uh,
are we just spinning our wheels? Is it, who knows? But anyway, well, okay. So final last
I
question.
agree with that. Yeah.
You are absolutely at the top of your game. You do this in a way that I've never seen anyone do before. Like, I really have appreciated coming on your show and having you come
Thank you.
here to talk with me about it. How do you stay at the top of your game? What do you do that keeps you going?
You know, for me, I've always been really into health stuff, and we could talk for hours on health related stuff.
Mm.
And for me, I used to be a late night person. Now I'm more of an early morning person. And so, you know, I'm like a short order cook and an Uber driver for my kids, right? So I gotta make them breakfast before I go out, but I swim like early in the morning.
Awesome.
And so after I tore my meniscus, I'm like, okay, I can't like really play basketball all the time, softball. So like I've been swimming about a mile a day. And then so getting a workout in, I'm less cranky. Like I just get
You get you get it out of your
it gives
system.
me thinking
Mhm.
time. It gives me really exactly just lets gives me a release out, and so swimming and working out early in the morning is key, and just like eating healthy.
Yeah,
I like it's shocking what I ate in college and how I even like survived. Like I was eating like
I
two
know.
pizzas, like a box of Snickers. Like, how did I even survive that? But
Totally.
now
And
I'm like,
now you're like, wait, no, I'm a Ferrari. I have to put premium gas in this Ferrari, right?
so bit by bit I've been cleaning. Health. If we don't have our health, we really have nothing. And so my sleep habits were also horrendous, Amy. I used to have like the mentality of I'll sleep when I'm dead. And
Me
and then
too.
I hired a sleep coach, got the Aura ring, I track it, and I was like, oh my God, this is how I'm supposed to feel. This is crazy. Like I actually
Yeah,
am not tired all the time. So
I feel so much better. Like it is amazing. I started sleeping better about two years ago and taking the time to sleep. And
yeah, so I
I'm with
think
you.
those pieces, the social interactions always feed me, also with the family and friends and the
Yeah.
podcast and everything. But it's really those health things. I mean, I won't even go into like all the health apps like I'm using. I check my Aura right when I wake up just to check to see what my scores are. And
That's
just the health thing I try and keep dialed in.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the show today, Jeremy. It was wonderful to hear about all of the things you're doing with Rise, with your perspective on relationships and AI in the future and how it all interrelates. with us and our varying personalities, and it was just really a lot of fun. You're a great guest to have, and I really appreciate it.
Thank you. No, this was great. I appreciate you having me.